the only anime podcast that is brought to you live at all times. We are streaming 100% of the time. We're always on camera. It's a real Truman Show situation here.
It makes editing the podcast a fucking nightmare.
Well, you know, our lawyers did advise us to get everything on camera.
Yeah, we are sitting across from each other, stroking each other's faces. We are together in a single physical location for episodes. Surprise!
Yeah, in a surprise move, we are here doing a home invasion episode.
Yes, of Room Raiders.
Yeah.
We're sitting here not watching anime. We decided now that we're in the same location, we should avoid doing anything anime related at all.
You know, it would really only bring down the mood. We were like happy to see each other. I didn't want to bring work into it.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I read and watch anime anyway is because I'm desperately alone.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Every time you get drug out when I'm here, it's like a veil lifts the clouds part.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I don't need it.
Oh, thank God I can put the anime away. Yeah, it's been real dire. I read a lot of manga in the last couple weeks.
You look like it. You look sticky.
Yeah, you can feel that, right?
Uh-huh.
The sweat just like oozing out of me.
I can see cartoon stink lines coming off you. It's like those high exposure photos of neon. Yeah, I can just see the trail you left through the house.
Yep. It's been bad. But good for the show because boy, did I rip through some anime.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what.
Okay, tell me what.
I did some anime.
Do it. Tell me what.
You dare me?
Yeah, I
dare me.
I double dog dare you.
All right. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in my throes of my despair, and I really don't know why I keep doing this. It's really,
I mean, I can tell you it's because you hate yourself and everyone around you.
I mean, that's more general. I'm talking very specifically in this scenario. Like we talked about last week, actually, and the week before.
I,
for some reason, returned to Netflix to watch anime.
I keep telling you, Netflix is trying to put their big old foot in the door. Their big fascist boot in the animated room.
Well, it's like, maybe it's just this is like, I don't know, residue from like how much I liked Cyberpunk. That's probably...
And Pluto.
Yes, that's true. Uh-huh. And Pluto.
And they get all those Makoto Shinkai films first before everybody else.
That's true. I think I forget that Pluto was on there because it's so good. It's like, no, my brain rejects it. It's
well,
like,
we can't forget that the reason Netflix even pushed into the anime sphere is because they landed a sleeper hit with that Violet Evergarden movie. You remember that?
Yeah,
people were talking about that all over for a hot second. I didn't watch it either.
Didn't watch that.
No, it looks like pervert shit.
It looked maudlin, Yeah, I didn't watch any of that shit.
It looked like Fabio should have been on the cover.
Well, it was like a war orphan story or something, right? Like that
they're all war orphan stories.
Yeah.
Why is Japan so obsessed with war orphans?
Weird. I can't
think of a reason.
I can't imagine why. I went back to the Netflix and unfortunately I watched Garuden.
Okay.
Way of the Lone Wolf.
Oh, okay.
Now, the title might lead you to believe that this is a show about a lone wolf.
Like, are you talking literally? Like, literally about a single wolf? Because I don't think that's what it's about.
There are no wolves in this show.
Okay, all right.
There are no wolves.
Well, I mean, I was hoping there'd be at least one.
Well, there are the two wolves inside you, but that's an entirely
that's a different thing.
That is a different thing. I watched this because, wow, I can't even think of a reason.
Yeah, I know. You don't have a reason.
Jesus Christ.
Embrace nihilism.
This is part of Netflix doing these, like, Baki ripoffs,
Oh, like the Kengan Ashura.
Yeah. That feels really ungenerous to Kengan Ashura, but like, I don't know. Have you read Kengan Ashura? It's biting Baki for real.
Well, sure. Well, that's why they're doing the Kengan Ashura versus Baki thing, right?
I know. And if Baki loses, I will cancel my Netflix subscription. I'm not going to stand for that shit.
Can we finally get Baki versus Goku? That's what I want to see.
Now that Toriyama's dead, they're just going to like rip apart his legacy for crap.
Oh, I'm surprised that we haven't seen Garfield levels of knockoff Dragon Ball merch. And it's not like they were shy about it before.
No. I have a whole closet of button-ups.
Yeah.
Garish button-ups.
I thought you burned those.
I should have. I have a hard
in
time
a ritualistic
letting go.
ceremony.
Yeah, we go to a bonfire. We burn it like we're remembering our lost dead.
It has little screaming ghosts that fly away in the smoke.
Yeah.
That's the ghost of all my cringe.
Well, I just saw this maybe yesterday, but this is probably a tie-in with the show, but they're putting Vault Boy, the Vault Tech uniforms into Call of Duty as like a paid skin.
Do you get a character model face that looks like Walton Goggins?
I think everybody wears those Punisher masks.
God, I hate that.
Everybody just looks like Ghost now. That's the whole thing.
Okay.
Soap McTavish, remember?
Sure.
Yeah.
I've never played a Call of Duty game.
How can that possibly? That's not true. That can't be true. That's not true.
Actually, no, it is. It's not true. I played Black Ops 1, but that's it.
You probably played Modern Warfare 1 as well.
I didn't play Modern Warfare 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or what is it? Future Warfare? Advanced Warfare? Is that what it was called?
I think it was Advanced Warfare.
Yeah. I didn't play any of those. I played some of the older World War II Call of Duties back on the PlayStation 2.
Sure.
They did like a knockoff, not knockoff. It was an official Call of Duty game. It was called Big Red 1.
Yeah, I remember Big Red 1.
Yeah,
that was back when they were still competing with Medal of Honor.
Yeah,
which just tanked super hard.
No one remembers that.
As soon as Call of Duty 4 came out, Medal of Honor was like physically erased from people's brains. Okay. It was like they destroyed these people.
Okay, so back to Garden. What's the deal?
Oh, excuse me.
Come on. Now, I know that you're entranced by my beautiful visage now that we're in the same room. That is the reason that we have to do the podcast, separately. He's obsessed with my Adonis-like chiseled features.
Yes, it's true. Though in a second, I will have to avert my gaze due to deep shame. Garuden, I'm not ashamed of. That's just, I was killing time.
Wait, are you telling me that this is an anime you're not ashamed of watching?
I'm not ashamed of watching it, but I am ashamed that I wasted my time watching this because, like I said at the top, this is like another Baki ripoff. This is about a guy who is big and tough. He knows a killing martial art, but he used it on a guy who was, robbing his dojo or something, and he double backflips this guy into a rock and dislocates his jaw up into his brain or something.
These are all just flavors of Fist of the North Star,
Yeah, but Fist of the North Star has a whole fucking thing to it. It's it's post-apocalyptic.
That is by far the coolest thing about Fist of the North Star is the post-apocalyptic setting. They go martial arts Mad Max.
Exactly.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
It is cool.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson couldn't do kung fu. He couldn't do martial arts. He couldn't do the 5-finger fist, right?
No.
He couldn't do the North Star touch that makes people's heads explode.
He would not say, "Oh my wa Moshundaru." He's not that kind of guy.
So Garuden, this guy is even more bland than that. More bland than Mel Gibson.
Oh.
And his whole thing is that he feels bad about killing people with his killing touch.
Damn, these killing hands that I can only use to kill.
Yeah, it really is. My fists are a weapon.
Stand back. I can't control them.
Yeah, the show starts with him punching a bear in the face. So you kind of know what you're getting into right on the top. And it doesn't really, it gets worse from there.
Okay.
That is the highlight of the show is him beating the shit out of a bear.
All right.
Also, the bear didn't do anything wrong. I feel bad for the bear.
Sorry, Bear. That one's on us.
You're a casualty of having to look cool in an anime. Yeah. I'm sorry, man.
Well, I mean, that is why people like stuff like Baki, because Baki's whole thing is
beating up people.
No, I was going to say its whole motif is grotesque escalation.
Sure.
It's all right, what next? He's shadow fighting a giant mantis to learn the amazing bug kung fu.
Everyone's favorite part until he meets Che Guevara in prison, and then shit gets really real.
I thought it was Che Guevara Jr.
No, it's
it's just straight up Che Guevara.
It's just straight up Che Guevara.
Or, no, it's Muhammad Ali Jr.
Yes, Muhammad Ali Jr., who really wants to like fuck Baki's girlfriend for some reason. It gets really weird. That whole subplot is very strange.
or Baki fights a caveman who fought literal dinosaurs.
That rules so hard. That arc is so fucking
everyone
cool.
loves that gif of his dad pushing his face through the safety plastic or whatever.
Yeah, this show has nothing like that. Actually, there's one part where they try, like, they let themselves go a little bit and have a little bit of fun with it. But it's so
Other
deep.
than punching the bear.
Other than punching the bear. But you feel bad for the bear, so it's like a real mixed bag there. It progresses like this. He's on the run from the police because he killed the guy who broke into his house.
Okay.
And they do, and this is like an entirely separate
And they don't
thing.
have what do they call it? Stand your ground laws.
Well, they
or
do.
castle doctrine.
No, they do. Get this. This is like a whole weird thing. And this is supposed to be like a big reveal later on, but I could tell you it's like not worth it. And this is like a separate thing. At some point I wanted to talk about, except it's a little hard to get into. But essentially, you know how like sexual assault of a woman is basically like the default kick the dog in all anime and manga. They just throw that in there.
Yeah, I love that is a thing that happens.
Yeah, whenever a big tough man needs a tragic backstory, they just offload that onto an innocent woman bystander.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so this happens here.
All right.
Turns out the robber, like, in the course of robbing, figures he'll just get a sexual assault in there. Why not, right?
Well, I'm already doing one R named crime.
So this guy, he's already pissed about the getting robbed.
Uh-huh.
And then he sees, like, you know, what it may or may not be his girl. Who knows? They really don't make that
She was
clear.
just there.
She's maybe just there. He does, like...
He punches a hole through this dude.
He destroys this man physically until he's like a pulp. And then he looks over his shoulder and he sees the woman and she's like, ugh, ugh, oh, gross. You pulverized him. You pulped his head. And he's like, I'm so ashamed. And so he just runs. He just runs away.
I think that if your angle is going for, like, she's horrified by his disproportionate response to her sexual assault, that's a weird place to start on, right?
Yeah.
Like you're saying, why is that the kick the dog? Why couldn't she just be getting robbed too or something?
Why it's so weird that it's not weird because like I said, they just insert this randomly. Not even randomly. It's just the default kick the dog in anime.
I mean, what they're saying is like, yeah, I was about to get raped, but like you went too far, sir.
Whoa, dude, you like really squashed that guy. Like you squished and squashed him really bad.
You made mince out of him.
Yeah. So he just bails. He just runs off.
Okay, that's what I would do.
You know,
no, that's relatable.
You relate to that?
I would literally run towards the closest woods.
Well, then you'd like this guy because he basically does that. A cop shows up. They're like, so, crying woman, did you squash this guy? And she's like, nah, I think that was that other guy. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to go track him down. 6 years later, this dude is beating up a bear. This cop still hasn't found him for some reason. So that sets up the lone wolf aspect, right?
Wait, and so on the cop side, is there a Zenigata who's like hell bent on finding this one dude who, for all he knows, can beat him into a pulp with his bare hands?
Squish his head.
Yeah,
just squish him. He's chasing this guy. And actually, the cop has this weird relationship with like one of his little hacker buddies. And this is, much like Baki, a show where every single man is barrel-chested and yoked out of their fucking minds. Like, everyone is, like, packed up. Like, swole, but in the traditional sense. Like, maybe there's something wrong with that.
like swollen.
Yeah, yes. Except one character, the little boyish coward man who is the hacker on the police team. And I actually kind of like this. Every time this guy's like, I have to catch the lone wolf, Garudo. The little boy man looks up at him. He's like, do you have to catch him, or are you just in love with this guy? And he goes, I'm not. Stop saying that. I'm not actually in love with him. But this is the setup.
Do you want to arrest him or do you want to handcuff him?
Yeah, it's like make up your mind, man. This is why he is a lone wolf.
Uh-huh.
Except, now get this.
Well, wait, so now we have two lone wolves. We have the detective.
No, the detective hangs out with the little boy man.
No, well, I mean, he doesn't count as a real person.
Because he's a child man?
Yeah, because he's
not swole.
He's a little non-swole child
It really
man.
is. It really do. They really do establish that, like, he is like
He's like one of those
boy.
fish that hangs out on the underside of sharks.
Yeah, it's like so emasculating that he is surrounded by the biggest meat men that you've ever seen in your life, and then he's just like a little guy.
Okay, follow me here for a second. When you describe that character, you know what actor I think of?
What?
Did you ever see that movie, The New Guy? I'm trying to think of other stuff this dude might have been in. You watch Breaking Bad, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember like
Aaron Paul?
Not Aaron Paul, although he kind of Aaron Paul.
He kind of is, right?
I was thinking of the undercover narcotics officer who looks like a little nerdy boy man and like they try to sell him meth and then it's a sting operation.
No, I don't remember that.
I'm going to bring up a picture of this guy later and you'll know who I'm talking about, but go on.
He's really more of an Elijah Wood.
Okay. All right.
You know, little tiny guy.
Okay. So not really a man child, more like a twink or a twonk.
If you insist.
Yeah.
Sure. So we get the setup that he's running away from this cop for some reason, and as lone wolves do, he gets caught up in some kind of weird Yakuza plot where he is forced into a deathmatch tournament on an isolated island by super rich people.
This escalated quickly.
Yeah, no, and they do that very quickly. It's like, okay, he gets caught up in this Yakuza thing. He runs away from the Yakuza because he doesn't want to kill people anymore. He runs into a Japanese-born Brazilian man, I guess. I think he's Brazilian. The Brazilian guy immediately becomes his best friend / rival, thus destroying the concept of lone wolfing. He no longer is lone wolfing.
Okay, so he abandons the lone wolf.
He is not a lone wolf.
He becomes a wolf duo pretty early on.
Yeah.
Okay, dual wolves.
He does like knock a couple of this guy's teeth out before they become best friends, but that's pretty standard for the genre.
I mean, dual wolf power is pretty dang good. You know, it's almost as good as double dragon power.
Yeah. Well, they keep talking about the beast inside them, and it's like,
oh no, that's like a DL thing. You know, that's they're someone's signaling.
They've
there.
Really got to come up with better terminology for that. Anyway,
are we still doing phrasing?
The one interesting imagination part that I alluded to earlier was that when he finally gets on the boat that's taking them to the death match, the eccentric billionaire shows up and she's like, you have to fight in a death match. And he's like, I don't want to do that. And she's like,
no, father, I don't want to fight in the death match.
And she goes, well, that's fine. But I did put a bunch of microscopic leeches into your bloodstream, and they will kill you in 7 days.
Wait, do they specify leeches? Like they say leeches?
Yes, they specify that they're leeches, but microscopic leeches.
So basically, they gave him malaria. That's what malaria is basically.
But they also describe them as nanomachines.
Are they leeches or are they nanomachines?
They're nano-leeches. They're nanomachine leeches.
It was nanomachines, Snake.
Yeah,
nano leeches in your blood.
Now, don't even think about it because it never comes up again, and it's completely irrelevant to what happens later on.
Actually, no. Metal Gear Solid's a good reference point. It's Fox Die. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, it really doesn't matter at all.
It doesn't come up.
He gets to the island. He punches a bunch of guys really hard.
Okay. Now, when you say he punches a bunch of guys really hard, like, do they just go down? I'm envisioning this dude literally punching holes through guys.
No.
I want him to punch them apart.
He doesn't punch anyone apart. No one gets punched apart. I mean, they get messed up, but nobody's coming apart. But
I really wish people would come apart more.
It would have given the show like a little bit of flavor. It really needed some spice.
Another thing Fist of the North Star did. They came apart.
Yeah.
Like fucking water balloons.
Yeah, they pop and shit. They come apart like rag dolls.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah. This show, not so much.
Okay. All right.
And it proceeds exactly how I'd expect. He punches guys until he gets to the end. He punches the last guy, and then I guess there's like some kind of ambiguous ending. But the one thing I have to say, the one spice I find interesting about this show, this is literally the only element that's actually interesting, is that the fights themselves are really intricately choreographed in realistic ways. And I could not decide like if they were doing like a combination of like 3D rotoscoping or if this was just like the animators like going Super Saiyan. I don't know. I couldn't tell. And I didn't care enough to look it up.
So that couldn't even pique your interest.
No, not even that. But I did appreciate it. I was like, when the first fight happens and you're like, the animation on the movement is like really intricate. And he's using like very realistic human body movements. And I found that to be really interesting. But it's buried in one of the most generic possible shows you could ever imagine.
I'm sorry, I'm just imagining now Ralph Bakshi animating Baki and how that would be like the coolest fucking thing ever.
That would be quite
like
an
Ralph
thing.
Bakshi, Lord of the Rings rotoscoping style.
Yeah.
Where it's a bunch of dudes in like costume against a white sheet.
They're all wearing those like foam padded like fake muscle shirts.
Yeah. It's just basically just a shadow play. You just turn the contrast up on the actual film.
Yeah.
And then put a color backdrop on it.
I was impressed by that. And it's just bizarre to see it buried in such a like absolutely fucking awful, forgettable, nonsense, garbage, like shovelware show. So
it's weird how stuff like that pops up.
Yeah. It's like, why would you do this? Also, there is a glut of just like martial arts manga. There are so many. There is like 50 a month. New ones just come out constantly. They're overflowing. Why couldn't you just pick one of those and do that? Why did you have to come up with all this shit? Actually, I say that. I don't even know if it was based on a manga. It was too boring. I just assumed that it was too boring to be a manga.
I was assuming it would have been based on a manga. New original IP gets made so rarely these days.
Yeah, I know.
You know, it's a fight. Like what? Was it Bones or Madhouse that did Metallic Rouge? It was Bones. Right? Yeah. Like that was supposed to be their whole bit. Like this is our pulling out all the stops original anime, and it was fucking stupid.
It was stupid.
Yeah, you just can't trust this shit. You need to start with a loyal following of perverts to bring you the financial backing into a good anime.
I bet
that's just how the industry works.
I bet someone really likes Metallic Rouge. There's got to be at least one person out there, right?
it's like the guy at the back of the union meeting. I like to tag Metallic Rouge. Who keeps saying that?
I wonder, there's definitely people out there who are like, I don't care at all about the plot, the setting, the characters, the context. Just show me good pictures. And I relate to that.
I see that is something that I don't relate to. And it's been bugging me for a long time. I don't get escapist like mindset for media at all. I don't like it. It feels like you're watching stuff wrong if you're just passively consuming like media that you have no intention of processing in any way.
I'm very sympathetic to somebody who's like, just show me pretty pictures. Like I get that.
Okay, but we're not going to get into it because it's not anime. But we just saw Furiosa last night, and that is a movie that can show you pretty pictures and tell you stuff. Like stuff, have a message.
Sure. But it's unfair to compare anything to
The work of George Miller.
Yeah, the work of George Miller.
Well, and then the man did make Babe 2.
Yeah.
In the City.
I know. You're gonna step to that guy?
I'm not worthy. I bow down.
I think it was a big mistake for them to launch Dune 2 in the same year that Furiosa came out.
Oh, wow. You released a better desert movie.
Oh, man. Which sand is better? Oh, I think I have a good idea.
Yeah, the one with the big fucking trucks.
Yeah, the big fucking monster trucks, dog. That's that good shit.
I do like how in this one they start off the movie with an unambiguous zoom in shot on Australia.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not like the ambiguous post-apocalypse. We're in fucking Oztown.
I guess George Miller was really worried that people didn't know it was Australia in the first movie. Everyone had Australian accents.
Well, okay, you say that, but why didn't Furiosa have an Australian accent?
I guess that's true. I didn't really think about that.
Yeah.
Maybe they just lose it over time?
I guess. I can't remember if the little kid version of her had an accent.
Now that you say that, I don't think so. Maybe the Australian accent is just vestigial.
Only villains talk with an Australian accent.
Yeah. It's she doesn't talk with an accent, but Chris Hemsworth does almost an offensive
I do believe that unironically,
version.
by the way. Only bad people talk with an Australian accent.
I call him Chazwazzles. That's Garoden.
Okay.
It wasn't good. I do not recommend people watching it. It is a big waste of time. But whoever did those fights, I really hope I don't know. I hope they get work again because they put in the hours.
Listen, the people who work on this stuff, I hope that they all have long and fulfilling careers.
Yes, I do. I really want these people to have good lives.
And that's, goes back to what you said about when you have weird little moments of leak through when you're watching trash.
Yeah.
And that is because somewhere along the process, somebody must have cared, right?
I think so.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I have seen enough documentaries about the making of anime to know that it's a dispassionate, joyless process from top to bottom.
Yeah. People just getting ripped apart constantly. Yeah, I don't know.
So you gotta either love the work or hate yourself.
Yeah. I think it's I will punish my brain and my body no matter what it takes because I respect this grumpy chain smoking old man with all my heart. And I don't care when he tells me that I'm a little dumb baby. I don't care when he tells me to go stand in the rain for 4 hours as punishment because I drew a line wrong. I just really love this job.
Now, are you talking about Miyazaki or Anno?
Who could, take your pick, man. There's 100 of these guys.
Oh man, speaking of people in the creative world with that mindset, can I tell you about something that I watched?
Please.
I watched a documentary that just went up on Hulu, I think a couple weeks ago. I guess actually technically it went up on Disney Plus, but it's on Hulu because they have all of their stuff as well.
Yeah. They're also bundling all these fucking streamers together. Anyway.
Yeah. It was called The Contestant. And, I know that you're a big fan of the death game genre.
Naturally. I've mentioned it a few times.
Yeah. Now, how familiar are you with the challenge TV show genre? Well, game show in Japan.
Just like everyone, I grew up watching MXC, right? Mm-hmm. The classic video game guy who got locked in a room and he had to beat NES games.
Yeah.
I watched some of that. I'm not a retro gamer type of guy, so I didn't watch a lot of that. But stuff like that, I'm fairly familiar with. I'm not a connoisseur of the genre, though.
Sure, Ultimate Ninja Challenge, whatever.
Sure. People jumping on stuff is always fun. I do appreciate that.
I do like it when people jump on things.
Yeah.
This is a documentary about a guy, an up-and-coming comedian, because that's one of the things they talk about in the documentary is that all of these challenge game shows where it's presented as a random person off the street, or a random contestant, just normal guy.
Yeah.
They're all up and coming comedians trying to make a name for themselves.
Sure. Easily taken advantage of.
Yeah. They straight up have one of the producers talking about the contestant, a guy who went by the stage name of Nasubi, which means eggplant in Japanese. Allegedly because he's very tall and has a very long face.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that he called himself eggplant.
Eggplant. I would gone with string bean, but sure, whatever.
Anyway, he sets off as a young man in the 90s to go to Tokyo and make his name in the entertainment industry. He wants to be a TV comedian.
Sure.
And so he signs up with this producer who's having a casting call for a as of yet undetailed reality show.
Okay.
And when he gets to the audition, he ends up in a room with a bunch of other guys, and they're given lottery tickets, and they wheel out a big lottery basket and draw a number, and he's the winner. And then he finds out, they basically straight from there, and they have hidden cameras everywhere watching this process.
Naturally.
But straight from there, they lead him into a room and tell him to take off all of his clothes. Like strip down buck naked.
Anyone who's been to Hollywood is very familiar with this process.
Yeah. And that's when the producer drops like my favorite line in the whole thing. It's like, he was a little bit more than naive. He was incredibly gullible and easy to manipulate.
How unfortunate.
Yeah. This guy really wanted to make it. You can feel the sincerity, and that is like blood for the sharks.
Yeah.
And so
grist for the entertainment mill.
Yeah. And so the premise of the show, they tell him, is that he has to be locked in this room. Well, not locked. Actually, they specifically specify you can leave at any time.
Really?
Yeah. It's an unlocked door.
It's like in the zoo where they have that little tiny moat to convince animals that they can't leave.
He's in an apartment. Like they blindfold him and lead him to this apartment. And it's just like a regular thing. It actually becomes a whole a controversy point at one point in filming because the media finds out where the apartment is, and so they have to blindfold him and take him to another one.
We're moving you to a second location.
But the premise is that he has to stay inside the room, and he can only survive off of stuff that he wins from magazine sweepstake contests.
Right.
So all the magazines, back in the 90s had like a little postcard at the back. You write your name and mail it in, and you get entered into a lottery basically to win a prize.
Yeah, you get a watch that plays Space Invaders.
Mm-hmm. So we start off with he doesn't win anything for the first like 15 days. And the producers at first don't feed him for like 2 days. And then they're like, oh, well, shit, they're going to cancel us if he dies.
If this guy starts like seriously getting health problems, we might run into problems.
He got health problems. Oh, yeah. So like, all right, well, I guess we'll feed him crackers through the mail slot until he can win something.
Does he have running water?
He has running water, and he has a little gas burner that he can use to cook stuff with.
Like water.
But he doesn't have any pots or utensils. So, eventually things start picking up. He wins some, I think the first thing he wins is pickled vegetables.
All right.
Like a pack of pickled peppers.
I love pickled stuff. That sounds good to me.
And then he wins like paper towels and some other non-edible things.
Paper towels are edible if you really want them.
Well, you save that for the emergency.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta decide in the moment which end it's going for.
Ugh.
Eventually, he wins some rice, and that's when he realizes that he doesn't have any way to cook it.
He'll have to cook it in his hand.
Well, what he ended up doing was he had won some like a pack of protein fiber yogurt drinks, right? And they came in these little cardboard kind of cups where he emptied them out, and they're foil lined on the inside.
Sure.
And he was able to eventually learn how to cook rice in those. So there's two things. He has to reach a goal of the prizes that he wins has to have a total value of over 1 million yen.
Okay.
Which in, I think, 90s Japan was like $100,000 worth of stuff, basically.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. They said how much it was. It was around there. And then the other thing is they put a camera in the room, and they told him to make daily video logs with it.
Oh, yeah, the confessional, of course.
But they said that none of this was getting aired on TV.
Well, then why would he do it?
That is a big question.
Why would he do it then?
Because the producer said, if you complete this challenge, then we'll make you a TV star.
Imagine if you told, like, The Bachelor that, hey, we're going to lock you in this house with, like, a bunch of women, but we're not going to air any of this.
And so basically that's the story. And he completes the challenge, and, you know, they interview the producer, and he basically straight up says, like, yeah, you know, I was the producer on this really popular prank show, and we were doing great numbers, and I became obsessed with this idea of pranking a person who doesn't know they're on TV, and then doing a big rug pull moment on them.
So what did Punk'd never make it over to Japan?
This was like 15 years before Punk'd was even.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
The Jamie Kennedy experiment then.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
How about that?
Sure. The Tom Green show.
Yeah, the Tom Green show. Whatever. Like, this has been a thing for a while.
You know, apparently it was a continuation of a long running show in Japan called Denpa Shonen, which means like Daydreamer Boy.
Okay.
And it's just like a wacky, like man on the street interviews combined with some light pranking. And I can't stress enough, this is like the darkest that they ever went. This was like a producer who had amassed so much power behind the scenes that he could basically do whatever he wants. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that, because he says that to the screen. He was like, yeah, I was basically a god, and people would let me like do whatever I want.
I could do whatever I want.
It's like, I just did, like, I would like push people over and like throw drinks at people. I didn't care. It was awesome. I loved it.
This is why you should beat people's asses more often.
Yeah. He's like, yeah. And, okay. And so here's the first big twist in the documentary. Spoilers.
Oh no.
He completes the challenge. First of all, the producer lets him know that he's completed the challenge by going into his apartment at night while he's sleeping, naked on the ground, by the way.
Okay.
And then
Naked?
He'd never worn clothes, by the way.
He's never had clothes the entire time.
He was being broadcast buck naked on Japanese television for a long time.
What? Okay. Sure. So, okay. All right.
So he's, and he's sleeping. And he, first of all, it's a total horror movie shot where he's just standing over the guy with a camcorder pointed at him, just looking at him for like 5 minutes in silence.
I watched Creep as well.
Yeah. Love that movie. And he wakes him up by taking out a series of party poppers and methodically, one by one, shooting them at his head. And the guy's like, what? What do you want? Is it over? It's like, what's going on? Did I lose?
Uh-huh.
And he's like, no, you won. Put on this blindfold. And so they take him out of the apartment, and they give him clothes. And they take him out to dinner. They take him to a barbecue place, a grilled meat place.
Uh-huh.
And then after dinner, they have him put on another blindfold. They blindfold him onto a plane to Korea.
Are you allowed to do that?
He was a god. He could do whatever he wanted.
Okay. All right.
He was as an immortal amongst us ants.
You know, I live in a country where the TSA will basically strip you nude if they think you have a Swiss Army knife in your bag.
Well, this is before 9/11.
Oh.
Yeah, you got to remember that.
Oh, right.
This was in the great long ago.
You're right.
In the before times.
The before times. You're right. I forgot about that. Okay. Yeah. So he's in Korea.
And so, and so the twist is he has to do it again. but in Korea,
In Korea, where he can't.
he does not speak Korean.
Doesn't speak Korean, can't read the language.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, mercifully, a friendly gesture, they say he only has to do half the amount this time.
Okay.
In prize winnings.
Mm-hmm.
But then he does that too quickly for the producer's liking.
Okay.
And so they double it and then triple it again before they tell him that he won the Korean version. And so once he's won the Korean version, they blindfold him again, put him on another plane back to Tokyo, lead him into a stage with a 500 person audience, of fans of the show.
Sure. Still buck naked?
Still, no. He has clothes at this point.
Oh, okay.
On the stage, they have a collapsible version of the room he's been staying in.
Mm-hmm.
He goes into the room. They take off his blindfold. He looks around and just without saying a word begins taking off his clothes again. The man is completely broken at this point.
Yeah, so they did Guantanamo shit to a random man.
And I should mention he never got a shaver or anything.
Yeah.
So his hair is super wild man. He's gone full Timothy McVeigh.
So basically this is the Simpsons episode where Homer has to kill his family.
Yes.
On television. Okay.
And then, as he's waiting in the room, naked again, waiting for the new rules of this part of the challenge.
The new reality.
Literally muttering to himself about how he wants to die. The walls of the room fall down and he's greeted by an applauding audience.
Sure.
And just has you can see the look on his face. Just totally glaze over. He has full out of body experience.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to process it. And then we cut back to the modern day interview with the producer. And he's like, yeah, that may have been the coolest thing that I've ever done in my entire life.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
It was literally that moment from It's Always Sunny where Dennis is like, that's how you get off.
Yeah, this is why you have a union. I don't know what else to say.
That is the worst part. He literally says I never signed contracts. They say he says that at the beginning of the documentary.
Uh-huh.
And then over the course, we get a look at how much they monetized the entire thing. He would write, the only thing they gave him besides the magazines was a stack of blank journals to basically write in.
Sure.
Because he needed a pen to fill out the magazine.
Of course.
Yeah. And so he would write these journals just every day about how he's feeling and his mental anguish and his deterioration and how his body is literally falling apart and he can feel his teeth getting looser and shit. They published the journals, all 5 of them that he finished, 5 volumes. They were national bestsellers each. He never got a penny. Never got a yen of any of that.
Now, I realize Japan, or any other country, is not quite as litigious as America, where we sue each other for fun. It's kind of a sport we have. But why didn't he, strip this man of all human rights in court? Why wouldn't he do that?
Well, you see, he was a nobody, and the other guy was a producer of the most successful reality show that's ever been on Japanese television. By the way, that is true about this. It is the most highly rated reality show ever on Japanese TV. And I can't stress how much of a national phenomenon this show was. So, I would highly recommend checking out the documentary.
Sure. Well, I like Jersey Shore.
I like inoffensive things.
Oh, it was plenty offensive. I don't know if you ever watched the Jersey Shore. man, they had to edit around a lot of slurs.
I bet.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but the flip side is that they edit in some slurs too.
Well, they keep the cast drunk like 24/7. So they're counting on it, really.
Well, that's what the editor of or not the editor, but Ozzy Osbourne's kids say, right? The Osbournes, like, oh yeah, it's literally those YouTube gag videos where they just make random edits to sound like we're swearing. Like they would just do that.
Sure, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I don't know about that. That sounds like against all human dignity.
It is. No,
I truly think this is an affront to humanity itself. And that person should suffer. Like he should suffer in some kind of like karmic justice way.
No, he's still out there.
Yeah.
He's still getting away with it.
Even Weinstein got fucked at the end, Like,
well, what goes around comes around.
Jesus Christ.
He's going to wake up one day. What's that? The Ryan Reynolds movie where he's trapped in the coffin underground.
Oh, yeah, buried.
Yeah, buried.
Yeah.
He's going to wake up buried. It's going to be broadcast on national television. I'd watch that shit.
Yeah, sure. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Or, you remember Phone Booth? Colin Farrell?
Yeah,
He's stuck in a phone booth.
Yes, I do remember Phone Booth
I think
with Colin Farrell.
That would make a good, actually, if you were just want to torture somebody for fun on a reality television show, I think Phone Booth would be a really good set.
I actually brought up Phone Booth recently with my my anime friend that I watch anime with. And is Phone Booth a death game?
Well, he doesn't really play a game.
Doesn't he though? He makes them do challenges. He's like, hey, you got to call your wife and tell her how you're cheating on her.
Yeah, but that's more like...
Just because they're moralistic and uninspired doesn't mean they're not challenges.
Yeah, I just feel like that's more like... I keep bringing up the beginning of Die Hard 2 for some reason, but that's more like that, It's just like...
Wait, Die Hard also or Die Hard 2?
Die Hard 2.
Okay, where they're in the airport.
When they force him to wear the sandwich board with racial slurs on it.
You're thinking of that's Die Hard 3 with a vengeance.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
That's the one. Well, what's funny about that is that started off as a script unrelated to Die Hard called Simon Says. And that's why they do the whole like you gotta do this stupid thing.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. And then like, oh well, we need a new Bruce Willis movie. Throw that in there. I don't know. Who gives a shit?
Why didn't they do that to this guy? Make him wear a sandwich board with a bunch of racial slurs on it?
It may seem a bit passé at this point.
That was too far for him.
This is too far.
Oh my God. That really makes me very uncomfortable.
Well, it's like I told you about that other show, the challenge, where it's like the guy had to be in a locked room and whether or not he had food and electricity depended on if his favorite baseball team won like their home series. How do they get away with shit like this? I guess it's just because they don't care. They see the common man as some kind of fuel to be fed into a big orphan eating machine.
It is interesting to see the dichotomy where their game shows and reality shows, besides stuff like the house one where they all just chill in a house.
Saw 2.
Yeah, sure. Whereas, we have the essentially just fake documentaries about the decadence of the all consistently fucked up rich.
Yeah.
That's just that. Or just random debauchery. That's that kind of shit that we have.
It's all flavors of 120 Days of Sodom.
Yeah, that and twee shows about making food. That's it.
Oh, I love those.
You do love those.
I do love those.
I know. Speaking of shame, listener, you can't see, but I'm averting my gaze. I can't meet his eye. I have something very shameful to admit. I've been.
It's okay. This is a safe space. I am giving you as much grace as I can. I'm open-minded.
I was going back and forth whether I should even bring this up. Recently we broke the shocking revelation that Nate has in fact read a book This kind of ran counter to the mythos of the show, and now it seems that unfortunately I have my own to bring to the table.
Oh no.
Yes.
You fucking make me sick, you reader. You're wearing glasses right now.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna try to bring this up as frankly as possible. Boy, this is tough. I think I think I like an isekai.
No.
I thought it would be better once I said it, but I'm hearing myself out loud and it's not making it better.
Dear listener, I have just had a feeling of horror radiate through my body. Cold sweats. I can feel a cold shiver going up and down my spine. I don't even know who I'm looking at anymore. It's like a total stranger has replaced what I once considered a close personal associate.
I've betrayed myself. I've betrayed my podcast co-host. I've betrayed you, dear listener. I am so sorry. But I read a manga the other day. I'm not even sure what brought me to it. You know what? It might have been that I saw out of pure chance, I saw an anime announcement.
Listen, nobody's perfect. We all have moments of weakness in the eyes of God.
I feel worse admitting to this than I did about that like horrible edgy shit that we talked about before.
Wait, hold on. Are you confessing to me because you think I'm Catholic? Do you think I'm a priest right now?
He denies it every time. This is like the weirdest thing. He really...
We're not in a confessional booth. It's not official.
Clearly there's some deep-seated trauma there that he can't come to terms with.
Okay, all right. Tell me, my child, about this sin.
We have been getting an influx of new anime announcements. Obviously, this is churning every day of every year, but I did see a few new ones recently. There was one, Science Saru is making a new Ghost in the Shell show. I don't know if you saw that one.
Oh, shit. I did not see that. That is exciting news.
That's far down the road. That's like 2026.
Okay.
But among these, one came up, and it was for a new adaptation of a manga called Quality Assurance in Another World.
You know what? That actually rings bells. I think I may have scrolled past that before.
This one is very popular, hence the anime adaptation.
Well, yeah. I assume it's about someone who goes to another world and has to do quality assurance.
You got it. Damn. You nailed it in one.
Now, okay. Now let me try and extrapolate into what this might be.
Oh, please. Yes.
Quality assurance may mean something different to the Japanese than it does to me, but it sounds like someone who is like on a assembly line or some kind of quality checking position where they have to look at individual products before being shipped out.
Well, your head's in the right spot, but you're trapped like 20 years in the past. You see, Quality assurance QA testing is of course all digital now.
Oh, okay. He's a bug tester.
Yes, for digital products.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
This man is a QA grunt.
Uh-huh.
And because our culture considers them lower than slaves, they are all disposable. This man and his QA team are trapped in another world.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, in this, it's not really another world.
I gotta pause for one point here. Are they trapped in another world or are they trapped in a video game?
Well, it is a video game. This is some Sword Art Online type shit.
I feel like trapped in a video game. Well, absolutely. In the same DNA, same family. Same genus, is slightly different than a pure isekai.
Well, I'm not going to split hairs there. I mean, look, the OGs
You're
of the genre,
wrong show, then.
The OGs of the genre were video game, trapped in a video game. So I mean, it's all incestuous anyway. The point being, like, he gets trapped in a video game. Mm-hmm. We have some Sword Art Online type shit, except unlike Sword Art Online, where it becomes kind of weird and grimdark immediately. This is a little bit more lighthearted, and the game never gets released. They're stuck in testing, the testers go into this, as they call, deep dive VR MMO game.
I mean, that is the future, right? For the technology, it's not gonna give you some amazing alternate world to live out your life in. It's gonna make your job just slightly less convenient.
Well, hold on, because there's a series of QA testing companies are all involved, and then he's in one, and he gets into the game, and almost immediately they all realize that there's the first big bug they discover is you can't log out. It's impossible to log out.
Why don't they just take the helmets off?
They're in like a pod.
Okay.
They're in a Conan the Detective style pod.
I mean, that is the one like hurdle, right? From what differentiates all this VR experience in media from real life is like, when you say in an anime, it's like, oh, we're going into VR, into the virtual world. You are literally putting your consciousness into, for all intents and purposes, another body in a completely world, and you're experiencing all of that sensory input as if you were there.
Yes, they take a lot of shortcuts because a lot of times they portray it as people putting on like the Oculus Rift, but what they are really doing is inserting a giant fucking needle into your spine.
Well, sure, they're
via the Matrix.
That's what you would have to do. You have to Matrix in.
Yes, they're Matrixing. So they don't have control. They've lost control of their physical body. Now they are just experiencing this VR world.
I'm saying you would have to Matrix me to stop me from just getting out of the pod.
Of course.
Because it's like, you can't log out. It's like, I'll just get out of the fucking thing.
Dog, I'll shake off the power gloves. It's all good.
Oh, what? I took off my fancy hat. Yeah. Checkmate, atheist.
It's interesting, too, because this doesn't happen very often, but there are stuck in the video game other worlds where they're not stuck. They can just come and go.
That's another
interesting wrinkle, right?
Stipulation on the isekai that I think should be considered.
If you can come and go or not?
I don't think Inuyasha is an isekai because Kagome can come and go. May.
Oh man.
Okay, what about something like dot hack sign, where the titular person, like, their consciousness is trapped in the video game, but their body isn't hooked up to anything. It's like been ripped out of their body. Their body's in a coma. Yeah. Just like in a hospital somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is also a plot point in real account.
Like, that's an isekai. I'll give that the isekai name.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you can come and go, I don't think that counts.
Well, what about like Arata Kangatari, where you switch bodies with someone in the other world and they come into your world?
That's a good one.
I like that one a lot, actually. I like the concept a lot.
I like the concept. I still don't think that's an isekai. I think isekai implies both a permanence to the action, and also an implied ending of whatever life or world you left behind.
There is no going home again.
Superman got isekai'd to Earth from Krypton.
Okay, all right. You can't step in the same stream twice. Definitely, sure. Well, a lot of these, and this is the one, and this is a wrinkle I like, is that, the quest, the overarching story in this is like you're trying to get home.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Peter Pan style, right?
Mm-hmm. Fushigi Yugi is another 90s one where it's like, you got drawn into a fantasy world, but it's explicitly a retelling of a myth from the real world. Mm-hmm. We have to go do the Journey to the West quest so that I can go back to my real life.
Yeah, well, Tokyo Underworld, which I'm reading right now, has the whole thing where they reference the spider's thread.
Sure,
climbing the spider's thread out of hell, right?
Yeah.
That's like a whole plot point in that.
What about something like Escaflowne?
Well, doesn't he come into our world and then they go back to their world?
Yeah, he comes into her world. Yeah. In the movie, at least, because he shows up in the giant robot at her school, and she's like, "What the fuck?" And then he's like, "Hey, babe, I need you to come. I need you to come with me if you want to live."
No, that's like the anime version of like driving your Camaro up onto the quad.
Sup, losers?
Hey, yo, where my girl at? Start honking. This one has interesting wrinkles in it, like that they are trying to escape. It's not like a place where they're like, oh well, here we are.
Sure.
And like, very importantly, he's not like stoked about being there.
That's the other thing. It's like usually they're like, oh hell yeah, my life sucked. I am glad to be dead and here now.
Yeah, my piece of shit life is over. I'm jamming now. This is great. In fact, there was another one I read, and I don't have to feel shame because this was pretty stupid almost immediately, but there was one I read where the guy has a heart attack in like panel 2 of page 1 and he wakes up as just a random it's a baby one. He starts as a baby, but he ends up being a random foot soldier grunt in an imperial army.
Sure.
In a medieval setting. And initially I got excited because like, oh cool, he doesn't have the stupid isekai stuff.
But then he starts climbing the ranks.
Well, yeah, like 20 chapters later, he's like learning magic and he figures out that he has like powerful magic.
Sure.
So it's like, oh, fuck off.
Has there ever been an isekai where the guy is just a total piece of shit and dies and gets reincarnated as a hero in the next life or whatever and realizes like, oh shit, I still suck. Like it doesn't matter what world I'm in. I am awful.
You can't escape yourself.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are all trapped within our own selves. I mean, yeah, you can't escape that by dying and going to the other world.
I feel like I've seen enough like badly written horror anthology movies about people trying to escape from hell to know that lesson at this point.
Well, okay, wait, this is good because the thing I really like about this quality assurance in the other world is one, our main character, along with all other QA testers, so they're all on the same footing, have access to like the debug console.
Okay, so they have cheat codes.
Yes.
Okay.
But he refuses to use it. So he actually underpowers himself compared to all the other people.
Debugging is actually easy for me. I need to up the challenge.
Well, he's really into it. In fact, way after all the other debuggers like give up, he is constantly debugging. So he does stuff like rubbing up against every wall he sees, which is very good. He tries to cheese bosses, which is very funny. He does stuff like that, which I really like.
You know what this reminds me of? We talked about this, I think, briefly a while ago, maybe during the winter season.
Yeah.
What was that anime that came out about the guy who likes to play like shitty video games and try and like find bugs and cheese stuff?
Oh, yeah.
He had the bird head costume.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I remember
I
that
can't even
one.
remember the title. It was so forgettable.
Yeah, I really did not like that one.
But it sounds, vaguely similar in the sense like about like exploiting the video game-ness of these settings.
Yes. But this guy is like, he feels a responsibility to continue debugging the game.
Sure.
Like, he's not trying to be like a super cool dude who like levels up super fast. In fact, he's doing the opposite. He's trying not to break the game. Like he's trying to find the bugs and fix them. And something I like. And we actually, the reveal later on when they establish why he won't use the debug console is we finally learn the fates of his other employees.
He accidentally deleted his coworkers.
Well, no, one guy tried to use no clip and he got stuck in the ground.
Oh no.
Another one of his coworkers turned God mode on and then encountered a bug where they died, but they can't die. So they are stuck infinitely dying and reviving in the same spot over and over again.
Oh my God.
One guy goes free camera mode and realizes he can no longer interact with his debug console because it's a physical object and he can't
control the camera?
He can't return to his body. He can't turn free cam off. Nobody can see him. Nobody can interact with him. all he can do is float around. And in fact, he's like in a special area. So when he tries to leave, like a lot of the other areas don't load for him.
Oh my God.
Very scary.
These
shit,
are like
right?
Greek punishments.
Yes.
Type of.
That's what I like about it. We meet another guy who gets stuck on the tutorial island because the tutorial NPC keeps falling off the cliff.
Yeah. Okay. So instantly it's like the debug console is
It's terrifying.
Prometheus handing fire to man.
Yes, exactly. It's like, I love that.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. That's cool.
So he's not that he's like, I'm so principled. It's like, I am terrified because when you do debug shit, you cause bugs, which is true. I mean, that is true.
You got to break a few eggs to make an omelet.
Well, because none of them actually know whether you die in the game and die real life. I feel
like that Frankie Muniz movie pretty soundly answered that question. If you die in the game, you do die in real life.
Yeah, but who wants to test that, right? To figure out whether you do or not? That's kind of one of the good ambiguities as well, is like when the testers die, he goes like, "Who boy, I hope that just auto logs you out."
Yeah.
Oh man, oh boy.
That's like one of those middle school ass like online copy pastas you see. It's like, oh, and then when you die, you wake up, you take off your VR goggles, and heaven is just or your life was just a VR game.
Yeah.
I guess that's a Rick and Morty joke.
That's the old. Well, before that was the old alien thing.
Yeah,
was when you die and you realize that you were the dream of an alien, right?
Well, that's the plot of Star Ocean 3.
Is it?
Yeah.
They just stole that?
They just straight up stole it. You get to like the 2/3 mark in Star Ocean 3, and it's revealed that your character and your party and their entire universe is a video game for like the hyper beings, the hyper 4-dimensional beings, which are just like regular people, but they wear white coats. Yeah, you know, like in a Star Trek episode.
Yes, like that's a real you humans move, right?
Yeah. You ningen.
I don't know. I actually, there's like so many of these elements I appreciate because they go absolutely against the grain of like every other isekai, and so that's where I'm at with that. And there's some isekai bullshit that happens, but they hold on to that premise for an admirable amount of time.
Okay.
It's like a long time before I got to a point where I was like, well, hold on a second. Like there's one thing where we meet a character who tried to equip a costume that didn't exist yet. The model didn't exist in the game yet. So they turned into placeholder art and they can't get back. And I was like, that's great. That fucking rules.
I have no mouth and I must scream.
Yes. But like, he still has his katana. So it's just a floating katana in the air and stuff, which is good. I really like that. But we never established whether the NPCs in the game see him as the debug art or as his original model.
This is like, just like all those kids in middle school who told me that the missing number glitch Pokemon was totally going to show up in the Pokemon movie.
That would have been cool, though, right?
It would have been really cool.
That would have been really cool.
Why didn't they ever do a Pokemon movie like the Digimon movie where it's a glitch is just eating the world?
Yeah. Why didn't they ever have Mew hiding underneath a truck? Even in that movie that just came out like years ago, where Mew was like a big part of it.
Uh-huh. Why not? Why not throw us a bone?
Throw us one bone.
It would immensely tickle me if like there was one guy at Game Freak in the Tokyo studio who was just completely tuned in to the talkings of American schoolyard kids in the 90s.
Yeah.
And the reality is that they didn't give a shit.
Listen, the kids are all talking that like after you unlock all the characters in Smash 64, the character select board will turn around, revealing a bunch of new characters. That's a great idea. Why don't we put that in the game?
I said, I want to be the guy at Game Freak. Like, yo, yeah, I have a nephew in America that I can send the test copies to.
Boy, I'd love to be the uncle that works at Nintendo. That would be so cool. That'd be so fucking cool.
It would be pretty dope. It'd be pretty dope.
That's basically the Bill Murray "no one will believe you" thing, right? Yeah.
I actually work at Nintendo, and I actually have a nephew.
I actually have a nephew.
Yeah.
And I tell him weird shit all the time as a joke. And he goes and tells his friends thinking I'm telling the truth.
It's very
fucking
funny.
Cool. It's so cool. It's so funny. Okay, let's take a break. I need to get out of this isekai shit.
All right, let's clear our minds.
I can't believe we even talked about isekais.
Let's have a little slice of melon. We'll drink some soda water, clear our palates.
To do things on the show, and we talked it over. We realized, we probably should do that.
Well, I've always advocated for having content, in the show.
I looked around at the anime landscape. I realized most other shows are putting out content. Now, I'm not particularly...
Listen, I'm not concerned with keeping up with the Joneses, okay? I don't think that we need to do content just because other people are like producing interesting things to watch that people may or that people want to engage with.
I mean, we shouldn't do content just because it's what
I'm
other
not
shows
doing
are doing.
this because I want people to like me, and I think that's pretty obvious.
You do everything else because you want people to like you. This is the thing you're trying to hide from the people that you want to like.
This is the thing that I show to people when I specifically don't want them to like me.
But in that vein, we thought we would play a little bit of a punishment game together.
Okay, don't say it like that. You make it sound like a sex thing.
You're bringing some weird stuff. That's not content. That's not content of you, bro.
Oh no.
We've got a bit of a devil's choice, as Nate described it. A bit of a dumpster dive in manga.
Uh-huh.
Because I consistently recommend manga and nobody ever listens to me, I've decided to turn it into sort of a gut punch, a sort of a torturous punishment.
Like the producer in the contestant that we were talking about before the break, Remy has gone mad with power. He thinks himself a new god, enforcing his will on this mortal plane. He is radiating with power. He's just lightning is coming out of his head.
Unlike that sadist, though, I believe in equal opportunities. So I've decided that Nate will get a chance to also zap me with his terrible manga. Now, this is a little bit easier for him, obviously, because all the manga he reads is fucking terrible.
It's true. I have no defense against that.
He had a much easier time of picking out some of these picks, and I should explain. So what we're gonna do here is I've set up a board for myself. There's 3 manga on here. Nate has picked 3 manga for himself. We are going to try to sell each other on these manga without giving away the name or the details of the story or the premise. We're going to try to describe them as vaguely as possible and as appealingly as possible. After we've named 3, 1 must be chosen.
And upon choosing it, we get the full description of what we've gotten ourselves into.
Yes.
Okay.
It is possible that no description will be necessary after the name is revealed, but we'll see. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see.
I mean, maybe descriptions can be optional. I feel like maybe there should be some follow-up information.
I'm just saying that might be an interesting scenario.
Okay, all right.
I have no idea what Nate picked. He has no idea what I picked. I think this is going to be fun.
All right, so what, do we flip a coin? See who goes first? How are we doing this?
Well, in the spirit of anime, why don't we do Jankenpon?
Jankenpon. Jankenpon. Ha-ha. All right. I don't know. You're a pretty quick on the uptake. You might know what's going on here.
Look, you can use any trick up your sleeve to deceive me.
Okay. All right.
No holds barred.
Well, then I will keep the first description here brief. High-spirited comedy about a high school cooking class. All right.
I've read a few.
Okay. Ready for the next one?
Yeah.
A rural village tries to fight against urban sprawl and the loss of their town identity.
Okay, I've read a few of those as well.
Okay, all right, last one. Cat lover gets a cat.
Wow, I've read plenty of those as well. Wow, you really did a good job making these as vague as possible.
Now, I can't remember, did you mention the rules that you get one follow-up question?
I will ask one follow-up question to narrow it down. Now, this is tricky. Again, I've read so many of all three of these. It's very difficult for me to discern one from the other. The most suspicious one, and we've talked about this a lot, that food is for perverts, and food manga especially is for perverts. Like, no doubt. I mean, we don't even have to go down the list. Racist gourmet, food wars, etc.
Racist gourmet. That's an accurate description.
Yeah.
The man was very racist.
I will never not call it that.
Now, I try to keep these brief because any one of these, I think, would be very funny to me for you to have to read.
Yeah. That's kind of what I went with as well. I'm glad we're in sync there.
Mm-hmm.
I think because of that, I'm not going to even bother with the food one. That's definitely out. I don't need that in my life. I don't like eating.
Okay,
I don't like reading
on.
about eating.
Real quick.
Oh, shit.
I just had an idea.
Oh, he's got a wrinkle.
You mentioned the thing about revealing the titles. What if we reveal the descriptions of the two that don't get picked, so we know what we dodged at least?
Okay, so process of elimination.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. Sure. Well, then I'm Xing out food manga right away. Get that shit out of here.
All right.
Get that shit out of my face.
All right. Okay. So now it's down to rural village fighting against the city, or manga about cats.
Yeah. Okay.
You still have one question.
Yes. Now, see, this is more difficult because
you see, dear listener, we've entered into a Death Note-like game of wits. The stakes are high.
We have now entered Endgame.
I'm going to pick up a chip and eat it. See how that changes his answer.
This is more tough because, obviously a cat manga seems safe. I've read plenty of cat manga. They tend to be very inoffensive. It's not My Cat Tawari, is it? Or Tawara?
Is that your question?
No. I won't play the question on that. That's my most recent cat manga I read. Okay. Oh boy, how do I get this? Okay. Does the cat talk?
Ooh. Oh, the cat talks.
The cat talks?
The cat is talking quite a bit.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yikes.
And you know what that means.
I can only guess.
Well, that's the point of the game.
Yeah, I don't like where that's going immediately, though. I can tell you that.
Like food, talking cats are pervert things.
Yeah, they're definitely pervert things. Man, that actually made it harder for me.
Yeah.
Okay, I picked the village. I picked the village one.
That's the one you're gonna read?
I gotta pick the village one.
All right. Well, the two that you dodged are called one we've talked about on the show before, actually.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Michan Wants to Be Kept, which is, I'll pull the official description here.
Yeah, please.
Iori is a young man in his 20s who has been stressed at work, lost his cat that he kept for many years, and is suffering from insomnia and loss of appetite. Next morning, he finds a beautiful naked girl lying in bed next to him. Sounds like you dodged a bullet there.
Yeah, you know what? That didn't even cross my mind, but oh boy, yeah, that's a bad one.
So you have to get into the mind of your enemy. You have to know how I think.
True, it's true.
Okay, what was the other one?
The food one.
Yes. This one was called Gyaru Gohan. And this is about, you would think a Gyaru as the main character.
Yeah.
But it's actually about her home ec teacher, who is a full-on adult.
Okay.
Who starts a extracurricular cooking class that is, as you might guess, populated by the school's quirkiest and cutest girl characters.
And does this devolve into some kind of...
Well, it has both of the high school romance and age gap romance tags on it.
Oh boy!
So I'll let you surmise from there.
All right. Okay. Well, tell me about the bullet I didn't dodge.
So you are in for a treat. You get to read Fufu Ijo Koibito Mian.
Do I have an English translation of that? I don't think I could spell that.
It is called Less Than Lovers, More Than a Couple.
Oh, no.
And I will let you experience that one as it unfolds.
Oh, no. Now this is something we didn't establish. Can I watch the anime or do I have to read the manga?
Is the anime out? I heard that they were making an anime, but I don't think that it is currently airing.
Is it? Okay. If it is, can I watch the anime?
If the anime is out, then yes, you can watch the anime.
Okay, it's either or?
Yeah, okay, fine. I'll be merciful. It's either or.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Because I want that opportunity extended to me in turn.
I'm not sure which one would be better. I mean, I feel like I read manga much faster than I watch an episode of anime.
Well, I think anime, just by grace of being more complex, has more ways to go wrong in its final presentation.
That is true. Also, I can check my phone while I read anime.
Okay, then no,
Watch
you have
anime.
to read the manga.
Watch
I take
anime.
it back. You have to read the manga.
Oh, God, watch anime. Okay, all right, fair enough. Yeah, I need to give it my full attention.
Full attention.
Okay,
all right, that's me. I've done my side, but now I have to take this back in return.
All right. Now let me see if I can do quite as good of a job here.
Now, here's the thing that you're not prepared for.
Oh, shit.
I only read trash.
I know. See,
nothing you can throw at me. Yeah, it's like the bullets coming in Neo at the end of the Matrix.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna do some wanted shit then.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
he's curving the bullet.
I'm gonna curve the bullet as you dodge. I've done a little
Neo
bit.
Never curved a bullet.
I've done a little bit of preparation to guard against that exact thing. So I've chosen different flavors of trash.
No.
That's right. One of them, I'm a little iffy on. You might actually enjoy it, which I feel like is a horrifying thought. But I guess we'll find out.
He's discovered my weakness, folks. I only read one type of trash.
Yeah.
I'm like a native species being exposed to disease, exotic disease.
Yeah. Okay. 3 choices.
All right, hit me.
First choice. A high school boy who has spent his life in the service of a Buddhist temple, exorcising curses, discovers that his high school is generating curses. He must save his classmates from, well, the curses.
Okay.
That's choice 1. Choice 2. In a fantasy world, in a fantasy backwater country in that world, in a fantasy town in that backcountry, in that fantasy world, an archaeological marvel is discovered. And it is being actively explored, I guess.
Okay. All right.
All right. Choice 3.
Jurassic Park. All right.
You think there's a Jurassic Park manga?
God, there should be.
There is. Oh my God.
There is?
There is. That's right.
I want to read that.
I saw a panel of that the other day. Oh my God. Okay. Never mind. That shit kicks ass. That doesn't count.
Okay. Fantasy World Archaeological Dig. Got it.
Yes. Now, choice 3. behind door number 3. Whew, this is going to be tough. What even is the plot of this manga?
It must be so good it's escaping your memory.
A sad girl and a sad boy forge a strange bond over their shared love of one of them's younger sister.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if that might be contestable, but that's the best I can do.
Okay.
Without giving it away.
Okay.
All right.
We got fantasy, archaeological dig.
Yep.
Bonding over your little sister. I don't like that. I don't like that phrasing either. And what was the first one?
The first one was Curse School.
Curse School. Okay.
Think hard.
Okay, and I get one follow-up question.
Yep.
Okay, my question is, do any of these have the...
No, it's got to be about one.
Oh,
you can't do all.
I can't do a general question?
No general questions.
Okay,
you got to ask
fine.
about one.
Fine. Okay, all right, then.
Oh, he's thinking hard.
All right, I'm ruling out the Curse School right away because I don't like curse schools.
You don't like Curse School?
I don't like curse schools.
But that's like one of the 3 major manga genres.
You know what? Jujutsu Kaisen ruined it for me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You got so turned off by Jujutsu
Well,
Kaisen.
you know, it's not just them. It's that and the whole thing with J.K. Rowling. Like, it all put a sour taste in my
that
mouth.
school wasn't cursed.
The entire fucking franchise is cursed now.
The franchise is cursed. That's true.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanna distance myself from Harry Potter as much as possible.
All right.
So nothing to do with schools.
Okay, no Curse School. That's
Okay.
fine.
Now, oh boy. Okay.
Now, you don't have to ask a question if you don't want it. You could just go for it blind.
No, I just have to ask the right question.
Sure.
Um,
He's turning his baseball hat around.
the fantasy archaeological one.
Yeah.
Do they uncover modern man?
That's what your question is?
Yes.
Uh,
Because if the answer is yes, then I'm picking that one.
modern man.
Do they uncover somebody from the past, and it's revealed that the fantasy world is actually the far future? Maybe.
Okay. I'm gonna be generous
Okay, let me
here.
just ask you: do they uncover a person?
I'm gonna say yes, but that's misleading because he uncovers himself.
Oh, okay,
Sort of.
all right,
Sort of.
all right. Uncovers himself.
You were pretty close there, though. Yeah, I mean, they don't chisel him out of amber. you know?
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So this one was a lot of deliberation, but I'm gonna have to go with sad girl boy sister love.
Ooh, boy. All right.
I feel okay. Here's my reasoning.
Okay.
I'm logging in because you described that in such an unappealing way initially that made it sound like super weird and gross and like something that I would judge you heavily for reading. That it can't possibly be that bad.
Interesting.
So I think that you were hiding it behind an intentionally provocative description. And the reasoning for not going with the archaeological one is because, as you know, I'm making my villain reveal right now. I actually am Catholic, and I don't believe in evolution or dinosaurs.
I knew it. I knew it.
I pull out the mask, and there's a little collar around my shirt.
He raises his rosaries up towards me. Back. Wow. Well, you were playing 5D chess, man. And I gotta say, I was not playing 5D chess. I was playing 1D chess, checkers. Or dominoes? No, dominoes is more.
I don't know how to play
Dominoes is like
nobody knows
3D
how to
chess.
play dominoes. You just stack them.
People play dominoes. No, you don't stack them.
They just have fun little dots on them for no reason.
I'm gonna teach you how to play dominoes one of these days.
Okay, Grandpa. He's got grandpa's video games.
Yo, grandpa's video games kick ass sometimes. My grandpa had X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, okay?
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
That's fucking right, dog.
Yeah. My grandpa had those, he was super into flight simulators, but specifically ones about fighting Ukrainians in the Cold War.
That didn't age well.
Yeah. Okay, all right. What did I dodge here?
All right. Now,
And what am I getting into?
You got a little bit of a clue earlier, but so Curse School. Let's start there. Curse School. This is a manga called Onegai Nagashite.
Please, Nagashite.
I will quickly do it. Translate because I genuinely don't know.
This guy calls himself an anime fan. He doesn't even speak Japanese.
I'm the only anime fan who's not currently learning Japanese. It's true. The English name reveal coming up right now is Please Take It Off. Please, take it off. Now, I will reveal, I can explain my version, but I think I'm going to just go ahead and read the description written here on MangaDex.
All right.
There is a curse on this school. It prevents the person who commits, quote-unquote, impure acts.
Oh, no.
From taking off his or her panties.
That's...
Only the right hand of the protagonist can break the curse and remove the panties. His name is Kamite. Kamite tells the girls that they have been cursed and that he can take off their panties. But, obviously, it is almost unacceptable for them to have any man take them off. ... exclamation point. This is how the girls end up in a lot of trouble. But if the panties are not removed, they can get into even more trouble.
I'm sensing a pattern with a thematic pattern in what this manga's about. Also, please, can we have some dignity and call them pantsu? Pantsu.
Well, we could just call them underwear. I don't know why the whole panties thing's in off.
It's a way. I don't like it. You especially shouldn't be saying.
I don't know.
On mic.
On mic.
Yeah.
Pantsu. Okay, that's door number 1.
All right.
Door number 2, the archaeological dig. Now, I probably don't need to. I won't even get. Before I get to the title, let me just get a little bit of the description here. Raise your hand when you figure it out. The enormous cave system known as the Abyss.
Oh,
is the last unexplored place on Earth.
Made in
the
Abyss.
World, excuse me.
Made in Abyss. It's made in Abyss.
I said raise your hand.
I'm raising my hand.
Nobody knows how deep down it goes.
Wait, no, call on me, teacher.
What?
It was Made in Abyss.
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah.
It was made in Abyss.
I'm not reading that because that is despicable shit.
You came pretty close.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Now.
That's why I don't believe in evolution. Made in Abyss made me Catholic.
Really? Because it made me an atheist. I mean, what kind of God would allow something like Made in Abyss to happen?
A vengeful one.
A vengeful God.
Yeah.
Some Old Testament
actually,
shit.
I'm into like the old school shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm into the bad God.
You're a fire and brimstone style Catholic.
You ever read a Stephen King book? I'm one of those Catholics.
Oh yeah, Father Callahan.
I'm also a vampire, but one of the ugly ones.
You're the kind that don't even get voice lines. They just scurry along the ground and then get blasted by Blade. Yeah. Oh, okay. Door number 3. Your
All right, what did I pick? Give me the title.
This is a manga called Happy Sugar Life. Nate is going to be reading all 48 chapters.
Oh, is that it? That's
Happy
not
Sugar
that bad.
Life. They couldn't sustain the premise for that long. I mean, I should probably read the description for people who aren't in the know. I feel like I did describe this at some point on the show, but it was probably a long time ago.
You've literally described it every episode for the past year and a half.
I love bringing it up.
Yeah.
Now, this one does have an anime. I do recommend reading the manga instead.
All right. Happy Sugar Life. I can do that.
Happy Sugar Life. High schooler Matsuzaka Sato has a reputation for being easy. But one day, her lifestyle of sleeping with one boy after another comes to an end. It happens when she meets the child Shio, for whom she is convinced she feels true love for the first time.
No, did you say child?
I said child. Sato may seem sweet and innocent. No, what? No, she doesn't.
No, this person seems like a predator.
But there is nothing she won't do to protect their life together, including murder.
A murder most foul?
Yep. Yeah.
All right.
I knew I had to pick some trash that would not be your flavor of trash, and I think I chose pretty well. All three of them you felt pretty uncomfortable with.
You've truly made me feel unwelcome on this show, in your home, in your life. Truly, bravo, sir. Bravo.
I'm just trying to broaden your horizons, man. I feel like that's the real point of the show, right?
Well, yeah, I can't fault you for that.
Yeah.
So what, are we going to come back next week and we'll talk about these horrible, horrible things we had to read?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do that.
Okay.
I'm sure I'll have some things to say about less than lovers, more than a couple. Which, what the fuck does that mean?
Oh, I can't remember. We haven't talked about it. I should give a brief description. This is about a small rural town in Japan who is, like many other rural towns, suffering from depopulation. And so their proposed solution, instead of giving the kids in high school sex ed, they just make them get married to each other.
All right, kids, figure it out for yourself.
Yep. Remember, no condoms. In
a world where condoms are made illegal, one child must fake marry his classmate.
So, forced marriage. Forced marriage manga.
Cool. Great.
All right.
Wait, has there ever been a forced marriage in Japan?
I don't think that
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Are you asking because you want it to be a thing, or?
Okay, handsome, beautiful listeners. I feel like this has been a particularly draining episode.
It's been a long one, but we don't get to do this to each other in person very often.
Oh boy. Also, the cruel sting of this punishment game. I'm already feeling it. Man.
Well, again, it's the reason that we can't do this in person every time. We will destroy each other eventually.
You know, I feel a little bit lucky that you didn't go like as hard, because at this point in my manga and anime career, I am a little desensitized to child brides.
That's the sound clip. I'm gonna keep that one.
Oh boy. All right. Well, I'm still waiting for the floodgates of you beautiful and handsome listeners to.
We know you're out there.
Follow me in the show on Blue Sky. You know, the Blue Sky is right up there. We're all trying to move off Twitter. Let's get on to Blue Sky, guys, and follow the account. We need to follow the account.
Listen, we know that you're a silent majority. Let's come on. Let's show the same support.
Yeah, come on. Watch the TikToks. We're uploading the episodes onto YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You can listen there. Let me know if saying this every single episode is getting annoying.
Oh, they never make it to this part.
They never make it.
All right.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
Well, I guess that's it for another week. Go watch anime, or don't. Probably don't.
Don't. Well, watch the ones we say are good.
Yeah. We say the some are good.
Every once in a while we say one that is like good.
All right, go watch the good ones that we tell you to.
Ones.
Maybe watch some of the bad ones we tell you to also.
Yeah.
Just do what we say.
I'm ambivalent on that, but yeah, sure.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Shit about anime? Like, who fucking cares? I don't give a fuck. There's no artistic integrity here.